Good afternoon, everyone. How are you doing on this fine, beautifully grey, miserable day? It is a very special one because it's very close to my heart. As you know, very, very close to where we are based at Unlock Runcorn. We had a very, very special event recently for the murals, and about a couple of weeks ago, I went along to a Q&A session hosted by Colin Havey. So there's a few links in the description for his Giggle Shack. But this video in particular is all about the artists themselves and what inspired them. And yeah, they go into depth, and that's why it's a bit longer than usual. So I hope you enjoy the video. And yeah, as I say, lots coming up on the Unlock project. So if you don't know much about the Unlock project, we aim to restore the canal and reopen the top locks near Alylo Bridge. But in the meantime, we're launching some boats. And it's good. It's going to be amazing. But anyway, check the links out, and if you want to get involved and volunteer, then all good. Anyway, love to you, and enjoy the video. Thank you.
Fantastic. Yes, oh, I'm sorry, the big fire as well. Yeah, this is a shy one. So it's part of it's the Reconnecting Runcorn project. So basically this is a Q&A. So I'm going to start off with some questions, and then you guys can just chip in anything. If anything I've said, anything they're answering, you want to chip in with that, then just feel free. It's really informal. Hopefully you'll have a bit of fun, and then you'll all buy tickets for the Giggle Shack, which starts at 8 o'clock tonight. And the tickets are only £14 each. Okay, so I guess the first thing I want to ask is, I don't know if this is the first time you've been to Runcorn, but what do you think of it? What have you thought of it so far?
I've only ever...
It's my fault, I should have said it off.
I've not got my glasses on.
Yeah, all good.
I've only ever drawn through Runcorn
Yeah.
and heard people complain about that bridge, to be honest.
Yeah.
So I've not really seen very much of it, but like, with fear of going off on a tangent,
You've got an hour to film whoever you want.
I enjoy painting in smaller towns because you paint in big cities and it's like people are blind to it. They're used to seeing billboards and posters, and it doesn't have that effect, and people don't come up and talk to you. Like, one of the nicest things about painting here has been the conversations we've had, and I've learned so much just from the booklets, but also the stories that people have from just spending time underneath those pillars. We've heard about people used to climb up and steal the pigeons
Right, okay.
off the bridge and then train them and race them, and I was like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then someone complained because I painted over their old football post.
Oh yeah, so that's the one.
It used to be someone's football pitch that we've now took over. But yeah, it's nice listening to all these stories of a small town. That I'm from a small town up north as well, and we often get forgotten. Everybody wants murals down in London or in big cities and stuff, whereas I think in spaces like this it's more appreciated.
Yeah, absolutely. I think by the people that live here, we don't really appreciate. This help does appreciate the history that we've got as well. By the way, I didn't tell everybody your names. You can tell I'm not a professional host. This is Liam and Alylo.
Liam.
So I should have done that. I should have done that from the off. So yeah, Liam, so what have you found about being in Runcorn so far?
Yeah, it's amazing. It is what Haley said. I think in a small town, it's much more intimate, and people feel more connected about art and about the all the histories, and yeah, it's doing great. I'm from a small town as well in Brazil, and I feel it's in a big city is much busier, and people doesn't see like the same way, right? So it's been great. It's been great to listen more about people life here as well, and what make the community grow until now. So
I think with Dukesfield, most people that live here have it's like generations have lived here. So from maybe the last 150 years, I don't know. Tim was here in the first house that was built wherever he is, top Tim Twist. He was born 150 years ago. He was the first resident. He was born with that beard, and he still hasn't washed it. But it is. I mean, I don't live in Dukesfield, but there's generations of people that have lived here all their lives. The stories that they'll have, and it's probably inspiring them to tell them stories to people. And whenever I've come wandering past, it's been amazing to see loads of people just coming down and having a look, because people kind of don't come down here unless they're come into society. Yeah, not really, but I think people are coming now, and I just hope it kind of inspires more people to come down.
There's definitely been a lot of people from
Yeah, it's got a lot of interest, and I think what we need in Runcorn is people from outside of Runcorn to come and visit us as well, because it's just basically just it's not just me, obviously, but it's
Something new as well, right?
something totally different, and exciting. It's fantastic, so great.
And street art have this power of like large scale murals have this power of impacting people see themselves on the streets as well.
Yeah,
Because normally is everything concrete and it's everything grey. So once you put something on the wall, I think remind about the emotions, about the feelings that are in people. So especially storytelling kind of thing.
absolutely. Yeah, it makes you
Really
stop
powerful.
and look around and appreciate
Yeah.
where you are really, I guess, as opposed to just walking past and going home. You're stopping and you're thinking about the history or just your own family or whatever. It's just inspiring people to do something and think of it differently.
And see how you can quite quickly. Sorry, I've got like I'm from Manchester. Shout. Quite quickly you can transform a space. You know, it's been like a week, and like a space that would normally, like I said, people won't use it, or it gets walked past and ignored, or just a lick of paint really is all it's taken, and a bit of effort.
I think you're doing is saying it's just a lick of paint. I should say I've got a lick of paint in my bathroom, and that's a bit. You could should be cutting in. It's terrible. So I want to ask you a question. As working a professional artist, I know obviously you apply for jobs for work because it's the to make a living. But was there anything in particular that drew you to this particular project?
I asked that before. I bet I won't say the same things. I think the thought that had gone into this before we even kind of came in, and it was quite nice because there was a brief there, but there wasn't. I didn't feel cornered in by it quite often. And I'm put off by jobs that are too like, this is what we need. We need this person's portrait, or we need this like particular whatever. Whereas this, there was a choice, there was the stories, there was the history, and something I always like to do in my work is research this place it's going to be in, because in my head I feel like, all right, we're street artists and that's our canvas, but you have a responsibility when you're painting in somebody else's backyard.
Yeah.
We get to bugger off.
Yeah.
We get to leave, but you guys have got to see and look at this. So there has to be something that connects with the people of the town, and that work was already done. Like the research and the work the guys have been doing for years really, really, I guess, drew me to want to apply for this. It wasn't just here's a wall, what can you do?
Yeah.
There was a narrative and a direction.
Yeah.
And I could already see the community engagement and it was a cool location as well.
Yeah.
But there was loads of things really.
Yeah, so there's not one particular thing, there's just a lot that appealed to you. And so it was a specific project, but you had still had some freedom within that as well, which obviously appeals to you as artists.
Yeah, for me it's the same.
Yeah.
Thing that every time that I pass through Runcorn, I see so much potential as well for street art. You have stunning walls, and when I see the application open, the open cloud, I just connect it straight away as well with the histories, and I feel I had so much space to put my own style on it.
Yeah.
Even with a briefing, especially on the pubs and theaters. I think because I come from a theater background as well, so I think I had enough gap to bring my history through this project.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been very exciting as well.
Yeah. So you felt a personal connection to it.
Yeah. Exactly,
as well.
Yeah.
Which obviously helps you express.
Yeah.
I'm talking like I know what, sound like I know what I'm talking about. I don't know anything about art. I mean, I'm doing a good job of pretending.
Yeah.
No. Well, yeah, you can tell actually. Yeah. So I just want to ask as well. So, who were your inspirations as children or as when you became artists? The only artist I know is Neil Buchanan.
Oh yes.
And Rolf Harris. Can't talk about him. Or who are your inspirations? Who do you kind of not mimic? Obviously, I don't mimic anybody, but who do you look up to?
Liam.
Go on, answer.
Second. Do you know it? So many. I don't even know where to start. So, God, Madsy, graffiti artist. God, now you put me on the spot. Meetan Crew, Arise, all these people I was looking up to. Faith 47, Insane. So many, and none of them are of a particular style.
Yeah.
And they've all inspired me for different reasons. Like the scale at one point was just, I never thought I'd ever get to that sort of scale of painting. So it was like, how do I do that? How do I go from this sketch that I'm doing to get where those guys are?
Yeah, it's incredible to see how you, even just seeing like the letters and the numbers you put on the wall and you structure it around that just blows my mind.
And then inspiration as well, like just people who have research, like some of the masters, their colour palettes, it was so restricted back then, they were limited, and it just helps then, doesn't it, as you start painting with limited palettes, you can only kind of get better, and it's like there's so many things, like even watching these what was it, these programs for
Art Attack.
Yeah. You made me want to draw. I always remember the Queen's head with all the money.
Tony Hart.
Bobby Ross.
Tony Hart, yeah.
Maybe should have said him instead of Rolf Harris, to be fair. Bob Ross as well, yeah.
Bob Ross taught me how to paint landscapes, like all the landscapes on there in my head. I'm like,
Bob Ross.
happy little tree.
Everybody.
I'm painting it, so.
We've got Matt at. If Matt had an afro, he'd look like Bob Ross, wouldn't he?
Oh yeah.
The afro's a key component.
That's the main thing.
For me, I started on graph as well, right? So the first reference that I got was the local scene artists.
Yeah.
Not big names, but like they open space and bring me to jams and things like that. And we used to hang out together and share a lot of techniques, a lot of the concept of graffiti, the concept of work in the streets. But every time I think that I discover something related to some artist that is improving my work, so I'm very fond of Baroque style. So on this pillar of the hospital, the C main hospital, there is so many references from Baroque, from Rembrandt, for example. But I look for modern art. I love Impressionism. I love contemporary art as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, every time I'm looking to different artists and inspire myself. Now I'm very inspired by Francis Bacon and Lucien Freud.
Yeah.
Which is completely different from what I do.
Yeah.
But somehow they could express something that I try to express through my work, through my style. So I think it's really important for you to build bridges with who came before you and talk the same thing that you want to talk in different ways, right?
Yeah.
So when you see a Francis Bacon picture of the Pope like screaming, the canvas just is so strong, right?
Yeah.
It's not a beautiful image, but it's powerful.
It's
right?
powerful, yeah.
And I think I always try to keep my eyes on what's going on and try to bring dialogues with other artists.
So take
my style,
different elements from different styles of art. So whether it's street art or whether it's impressionist. So I knew that.
Yeah.
Popped into my head. And the good thing with art, there's always new art being created, and I guess there's ways people coming up with a slightly different style that you've never seen before that can inspire you as well.
Yeah, it's important because someone told that, I think it was Picasso, that say that art is a brain process, a brain thing. So you express, but it's not only expression. It's a process.
Yeah.
Is a process through the method, right? So you if it's just expression, is like looking in the mirror. So it doesn't make sense just you sit with yourself and paint whatever you want.
Yeah.
I think you have to bring memories from what is around you.
Yeah.
And what is like what you observe, what you watch, what you listen, who you're talking to.
Yeah.
So this everything build up the style, build up the scene, build up the expression, right, and catch people attention, right?
Yeah, so that's helped you. You're telling a story basically, especially with these ones here. You're telling a specific story about Runcorn's history,
and build ourselves as an artist. I think is something that needs to be developed, right?
Yeah,
not something we born as an artist. No, I think there is so much method, there's so much work to see ourselves as an artist as well.
Yeah. So you have that natural gift to be able to, because not everyone can do what you guys can do, right? You have that natural gift, but then you have inspiration or a different way of thinking to people. I don't know.
I don't know if it's I don't know whether I'd call it a gift. I think it's this. It's like a drive. You find something that scratches that itch, and,
Yeah.
you know, and you just absorb. And you know, people have it with anything. You know, some people live to read and will spend hours and hours and hours reading books.
Yeah.
They'll know every book and every story and can talk to you all day about reading
Yeah.
a book. Whereas I think quite early on for me, I found something that I could really get my teeth into, and it's there was never any rush really for me to get to any point. It was just it's all learning, all absorbing, all like the people you meet, the memories you have, all like the colour palettes. Like you start seeing things in different ways.
Yeah.
Like you'll see, like this room, for instance, the colour palette of the room is like what I noticed, and you know those. But it's because you spent so long, like thinking creatively about stuff that you just absorb. So it's hard for me to say what inspires me because I think it's everything.
Yeah.
and
I guess so.
everything,
It's
and like the different stuff as well.
yeah. It's the same.
Attitudes inspire me. People with attitudes to stick with something and drive through and,
Yeah.
and not accept problems. You know, like there's so much. There's so much.
Yeah. So you can just draw inspiration from everything,
Yeah.
everyday life. Like when I was a comedian, you get inspiration from just hearing conversations, and you know I wasn't very good at it, to be fair, but I'll give it a go. But yeah, you just listen, you just see things differently because you listen to conversations differently. Like you said, you walk into this room and you look at it in a totally different way. To certainly I would. So it's just that's really interesting. So I'll ask one more question, and then if you guys want to, I'm sure you've got questions of your own. So one last one. So if there's any piece of art, whether it's street art or whether it's something from history, you mentioned Francis Bacon before, that you looked at and you wish you'd painted it, what would it be?
Tough question, mate.
Yeah. Just think about the Lisa.
That's true.
Do you know what? There's a painting in the Manchester Museum of Art, and I cannot think who it is who painted it.
Right.
And it's really annoying because I was there and I was trying to get this to go in my brain so I would remember. But things go in and go out like with me. But it's this painting, and it's like it's really depressing. It's like this war, and there's like people getting slaughtered, and
The Viking ones.
no, it's not. It's like I don't know. I think it's the Civil War,
Yeah.
the Civil War, because of the outfits they were wearing. But there's like blood and guts all over it. There's this
Nice.
one guy stood, and it's just the expression on this guy's face, and that tells more of a story than the rest of the painting, and
Right.
it's haunting to look at. And I spent ages looking at it. And do you do it? You pick pieces of the painting. You're like, how did they do that bit? And how did they get that highlight like that? Like, well, it's really dark and depressing, which is normally what I'm drawn to. Anyway.
Yeah.
So that's probably why I like it, and I'm gonna find out who painted it,
Yeah. So let us know.
and I'll let you know.
Wait, yeah. I don't know which one. I think
Just make one up.
let's see. I started like from Van Gogh.
Sorry, there you go.
What's called this? Mona Lisa.
Mona Lisa, yeah. It's Starry Night and Mum's favourite.
Francis Brown, you know. We go with balloons.
Yeah.
I was just thinking because it's a tough one.
Yeah, sorry.
I don't-
Tough, sorry.
I don't know. I think I don't know.
Yeah.
It's tricky.
Well, your own art. Well,
There's too many there.
I wish I could draw what you draw, so there you go. I'll answer it for you, no problem. So anybody in the audience want to ask any questions, any burning issues?
Yeah, it's scary to be the first one. I think your paintings are very are done in a particular style. I'm not sure you spoke about Baroque. I'm not sure if this is Baroque, but it's a particular style. It seems to be the same style of the two paintings I've seen right now. I'm not sure if all of them are going to be the same style, but so my question is, why did you choose that style? Do you think it fits Runcorn, or is it the effect you wanted to create on Runcorn? You think that's what Runcorn needed? Or I'm just looking. So what inspired you to do this particular style?
Yeah, on the hospital one, I think you mentioned like
All of
general.
I felt all of them had a particular style, similar style to it. It was nothing like a Picasso or something screaming or screaming or expressionist. Something quite introverted, maybe in a way.
Yeah.
Even.
So I think the history from the shows, right, about the hospital, I wanted to bring it, that idea of it fits with Baroque, and also I like to paint in similar with Baroque, with the light and shadows, right, chiaroscuro kind of thing, and I just wanted to bring my personal my preferences. And thought that would suit better with the history of the hospital scene that the shows build up. So yeah, I think that's it. I think that's my choice of paint. I like to paint on that. I like contrast. I like I like to draw through the light, right? I like let the light draw the image. Is that yeah?
I don't know why they match though. It's weird. I think with this design, because of the we came down and we checked out the location after we'd designed it. So I'd gone on Google Maps and had a bit of a recce anyway.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the colours I was picking were colours that I'd kind of seen around, because I wanted it to stand out, but I didn't want it to be garish or uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I think as well with the subject, it only seemed right to kind of use more traditional kind of colours.
Yes.
And then with this, the next one that I'm painting now, I've kind of gone a little bit out of the box with that one, because I've used the colours, because they were so strong within the suffragette movement and they meant so much around that. The colour palette is all focused around that. And it's not the colour palette that I'm used to painting with, so it's got its challenges. But I like a challenge, so that's good.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, that's revealing. Yes, thank you.
Okay, great, thanks. Anybody else? Ripley?
So it's something that is two things really. I mean, all three of you have got different sort of styles and ways of working. A question that's been asked over and over again for you, Liam, is because you use like that Google, doodle grid.
Doodle grid, yeah.
And loads of people, I know for the first few days we were looking at it thinking, what is that? You know, people looking at me, what is that? And so many people have asked what that is. So if you can tell us about that, but also you guys sort of measure differently. Can you tell us a little bit about your sort of technical process?
Yeah, sure. We said a bit like there is many ways to upscale an image, right? You can use doodle grid, you can use square grid, you can use projector, you can do by eyes, you can do like with bouncing. Each technique have the limitations, but doodle grid is for me the most comfortable one, because I can do like whatever I want. The only case that I can use doodle grid is if there is a scaffold in front of the wall, because I have to step back and take a picture of it. Basically, this technique is I just do random draws, whatever I want, or I do any text that I want.
And you've used a lot of like letters and symbols and that sort of thing,
symbols,
haven't you?
yeah. Normally, you can tape as well with different colors of tapes. So I take a picture facing the wall, and then I use the iPad to know where I'm gonna put the image. So I know that this eye gonna come exactly on that cross, or the nose gonna come on the circle. So yeah, for me it's the quickest way to upscale an image. Yeah.
I guess the grid is an old school method used by so many people, but the reason for the tape is one of the reasons to use tape is you put your background on kind of first, wash the wall, then you'll put your main key colours down once you put your grid on. So when you pull the tape off, you're still left with a negative. So it's still there, but you've already painted the background. So then you can start working the detail with the characters and whatever else, and just kind of take out those tiny little things. The trouble with a squiggle grid is once you've got that grid on, you've got to completely cover the whole wall. There's no way of kind of just freestyling a background or anything, is there? Like, you've got to go in and you have to work harder to kind of cover that grid up. So I like something that's a bit more temporary. And especially working on bigger walls as well. I don't often grid all the wall. I'll just grid things that are needing the attention and the scale. And then the rest can be a bit more freehand and a bit more just felt, and like, because things change, because we work abroad a lot as well. We won't ever see the wall before we turn up, so we'll be getting photographs that are this big, and you're looking at the car parking spaces in front trying to measure it and work out how big is this damn thing, and then you get there and it's like 3 times bigger, and you're like, oh god, I've only got 4 days. And you have to change things on the spot. So being able to know, when you know all of these different things, you know what works best on like brick, or what works best if you've got a complex background, or what works best if you've got a portrait, like, and then you just flip between the two.
Yeah.
Plus Chris doesn't like the doodle grid, it sends his head wonky.
What do you prefer then, Chris?
I prefer the grid, normal grid. The squiggle grid, usually my head's already squiggled, so when I sit down, it's not getting into it too much.
It's the quickest.
It is quick, yeah.
We get mixed up here, I don't want to start.
I like it.
So how does that? Because I know, because I've seen you all working on each other's as well, I think. So if you work in a different way to Liam, how does that work for you then? Is that difficult for you to?
I work with Haley, so.
Oh, okay.
Not maybe we'll work with him in the future, but
Okay.
not squiggle grid.
Well, you can work with him on that. If you've got shop logo there. That won't need much of a squiggle grid. Giggle grid. There you go. Chris is headlining tonight, everyone. I'll do the jokes, thanks. So, is there anybody else? So,
I'd like to know how you stay connected with the works that you've done. So you mentioned that you do international stuff. Obviously, you can check them out online. I'm assuming you check out your own photos, you've got your own portfolio and stuff. Do you get to visit them physically? Do you get to revisit them, like go to the actual places and see them? So I'm just interested to know like how you do that.
Sometimes I get to go back, and it's quite interesting when you do go back, because it doesn't look like what you remembered it as, yeah. And all those little things that were doing your head in when you finished, and you were like, oh, it didn't look like that. When you go back, you're like, oh, actually, it was all right. When you give it a minute and you go away from it. But yeah, usually it's just online. I mean, the beauty of like social media and stuff is you can the world's a smaller place, isn't it? And you're more connected and things. But there's been a few projects that I've gone back to do another edition of. There's one in Flint. I've been back 7 years in a row now. One in Mexico is the same.
Okay.
And we just keep going back and adding more and more and more and more. And now it's my time.
Because it's not like, it's not gallery, like technically the working gallery or your studio or whatever you want to call it. So it's completely different for you in that respect.
Yeah, and sometimes work disappears. I mean, I've had buildings get knocked down that I've had my work on, or burned down, or...
How do you feel about that? Something inside?
To be honest...
Like crumbles with the building?
Not at all. I think because I came from a graffiti scene, it's very temporary anyway. And I was really rubbish at graffiti. Couldn't run fast enough. And too lazy. Enough to get away with it, to be honest. That was bad. But so I kind of went to more chilled out spots, and a lot of those were warehouses that were derelict in Manchester. So that's where I kind of cut my teeth and learned to paint, was inside these warehouses. It was still illegal, but no one cared. Sometimes we just give the security. Well, I'm not even going to say. But Dirty mind. Wasn't that? Yeah, exactly. Whatever he wanted.
Okay,
So then, anyway, we go in and paint, and then there's none of these buildings left now. They're all like nice posh fancy apartments. It's quite lovely. I have to check. This is without a drink. But yeah, so it's, you know, at half of these things, well, every now and again we'll see an apartment go up on the market and there's like the outlines of somebody's street art they've still left them in, or it's a bar now that still has people's graph on it. But yeah, I can't remember the part of the story.
I'm just thinking about the security guard, to be fair. Smile on his face.
Things go, things disappear, and you just
That's
part
the
and
nature of
parcel
what
of
you
it.
do, I
Yeah,
guess.
it's quite
Just
cathartic.
content.
It's quite
Yeah.
cathartic, really. Yeah,
Changed so much.
clean up.
It's basically what you say. Like we are used to when we paint, especially legally. Like the paint changes as well. Like the paint change the pose sometimes. If there isn't a finish.
Yeah.
So I painted a wall 5 years ago in Liverpool that is completely different from what I did. Right in the green that's supposed to be shadow and deep green now is light.
Yeah.
So
So
got the same effect then, therefore.
yeah. But I think this is beautiful as well. This is
Yeah.
quite nice.
Like ghost signs, isn't it?
Yeah. We never know how the painting gonna turn up in like 10 years.
Yeah.
If there isn't any vanish, right? If we put vanish on it, keep the same.
So you're just not kept like behind the glass
Yeah.
screen in special condition with a particular light.
Yeah.
So it's expected.
Yeah.
I think.
And they kind
Thank
of
you,
grow
by the
into
way.
the space.
Yeah.
They can become a part of the space
Yeah.
even more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in graffiti, I think there is so much respect with some arts, at least where I came from. Like we don't cover graffiti without permission from the graph that we are covering. So there is a lot of respect between us. And this is quite nice about the community. That yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, we've got a few now, sorry.
Could I ask how you choose the specific images that you paint? Do you take it down to the town or the area or the particular part of the town or the locality that you're painting in? What makes you choose specific images that you paint?
Quite often, like I was saying before, kind of touched on it, I like my artwork to resonate with the space it's in, and quite often that comes from some form of research on the area. And that is a big part of the process for me, is the research, is like digging around, finding out little hidden bits of history sometimes, and you can always hide little other bits within the artwork, but it's heavily it's influenced by the area. Or I mean, sometimes you get briefed to do a more commercial work, like particularly in cities and things like that. You'll be more briefed down a certain avenue, and then that will kind of take away. But I've been painting now for too long, years, like decades, and I think now more and more people, they're not briefing so heavily in terms of like, this is what I want it to look like. It's more like, can you do something around this subject or around this kind of thing? And they're letting my style and my vision speak. So, but yeah, definitely very, very much inspired by places that we go, people that we meet, people, conversations that I have. Bits of history, like these are all from the stories and the hard work that these guys did before we turned up in putting this collection of stories together. Like, this is why I love this project, is it had a real solid background. Like the research that I would normally go around digging for was already there, and then I could just dig around on the top and find other little nuggets. So the shield on how do you say your name? Wade. Thank you again. That's actually an old Saxon shield that was dug up somewhere around here, and the engravings on it, and and whatnot. So there's like, those were like the little bits that I found. And then the runes are actually Saxon runes that I kind of found in my research, you know. And then these guys kindly provided me with the research I couldn't find, which was the how it actually looked back in the day, an artist representation. So the background, you know, the piece with the castle and everything is from photographs that were provided by the historian. So it's, you know, it's always pulled. I enjoy projects more like that because you feel like you're learning something and you're really digging in and getting under the skin of the place you're painting in.
Yeah. For me, I have to feel connection with the image that I'm doing technically, but also something that I don't know how to explain, right? Like sometimes I like the features that own it, like the expression of the hands or the expression of the faces, the look, the colors or the light that is on it, and match with what I normally do. So I use this to build up my designs, right? Most of the times I like to take pictures of it, of my own models, or to use on my paints, and I ask people that I feel connected with as well to paint them, but not always, right? That's how.
Okay, I think there was two. Well, behind is everywhere now.
I had a question already.
Tim?
Yeah, my question is, it's very, what you do is inspiring to people, yeah? So when you inspire people, people want to do it sometimes, you know? So what do you think communities and the authorities in them communities can do better for people who want to become street artists or paint murals on walls, basically, to free up spaces?
Yeah, I think give space.
What's your opinion on that?
I think give
The
space.
lack of opportunities, basically, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think give space to people is really important. Give space to style and to build up the whole culture about street art is really important. Have free walls, promote exhibitions is important. Promote talks like this is really important.
Cheap studio, free studio
Yeah,
spaces.
free studio spaces. Bring people from different parts from completely different parts of the world. It's really inspiring as well. And do whatever they can to support the community with materials, with paying fees, you know, inviting to projects.
Not everybody wants to do it as a job either, you know what I mean? Or some people like to just paint freely, just to paint.
Yeah.
Not everybody wants to go down the route of doing it as a career.
Yeah.
So how do you know, think of it as if you're an up and coming artist and you're seeing stuff like that and you want to try it for the first time, where would you do it? You know what I mean? In a community that doesn't offer you a place to do it.
Yeah.
And then when you do it, it's difficult. You've got to do it in the middle of the night and run away. For instance, I'm 60 this year. I've been doing it in and around this town for 42 years. I still have to do that. If I want to do some kind of painting in my own town, I've got to sneak around in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Or I've got to go elsewhere. You know, I've got to travel the world. I'll go to other cities and towns, as we all know. You know what I mean? But now we know this is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, art form on the planet. Street art and graffiti. If you know where to go and the places that we know, like 5 Points, Wingwood, yeah, these places are huge now, and the size of the actual art community that we know exists is huge.
Yeah.
So, I believe there's like an extreme love affair that the world is having currently with the art form, with our art form, and it is the Renaissance. We are the new revolution of art on the planet. There's nothing bigger than our movement. We are the movement of the time. We are the movement of the thousands of years ago movement. We are the present movement. And I think society should embrace it more. What's your opinion on that?
I know how much legal walls mean. Having a legal space that you can paint where you're not having to worry or run and it's chill. Like I learned so much painting legal walls in Manchester, and you know that they weren't necessarily high footfall walls and none of that. That was where I learned techniques, where I would experiment. Sometimes I wanted people to see it, sometimes I definitely didn't want anyone to see it. But that's like, those spaces are vital in, how do you expect anyone to learn how to use a can and can control? You can't spray in your house, you know, you can't do it in your studio. You need an outdoor space and you need to do it on the street. You know, outside in the
Well,
open.
the exposure is part of it. That's what you
And
know.
the
I mean, you need the exposure.
Absolutely.
And the people I used to meet at those places as well. And some of my best, we were talking about it last night, some of my best times, like as an artist, before I was an artist, you know, was down there. We'd have barbecues and people would bring beer, people would bring sound systems, and we'd make a whole day or a weekend of it. And it was so much fun. And it was, you know, no one's hating, everyone's just loving the fact that.
That's the side of the culture that like most people don't get to see. You see,
Yeah.
you don't realise that how deep the culture is. You know what I mean? How
It
connected
is,
we all
yeah.
are as
And we all come
artists.
from the same
Yeah.
place, whether we work graffiti
How
or not.
important that is. We all.
Street art wouldn't be there if it wasn't for graffiti.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
graffiti pieces wouldn't be there if there wasn't tags or throw ups. It's an evolution and it's changing all the time. Like, you know, people didn't used to paste things on walls. Now there's paste ups. There's big paste up festivals like
Yeah.
Stencils, Banksy. Everyone hated the
Well,
stencil.
the
Now
Yardworks going on at the
Banksy's-
moment. There's a huge event that's going on at the moment in Glasgow called Yardworks, and that's enormous. Some of the best street artists, graffiti writers from all over the world are there presently.
Yeah.
Do you know about that?
Yardworks,
About Yardworks.
yeah.
It's great.
It's great.
I think that.
But it's all over now. I mean, when I first started painting murals, there weren't any of these festivals, there weren't any commissions as such. You'd go and you'd beg for a wall. And you'd be like, can I please paint your wall? And you'd collect your buckets of paint and whatnot from what's left in your bedroom and you'd make it work, you know.
Yeah.
And now, and even the spray, the tools that we used, we were talking about earlier, like, it's developed so much in the space of time. You'd have like 3 or 4 caps, or, you know, and low pressure, well, what? You know, it was all like heavy car paint or whatever. I mean, I was never painting back then, but even in the time frame that I was painting, the colour spectrum on the paint that you can buy has gone from like 40 to like
Yeah.
250.
You can you buy like specific street or paint now? It's, yeah.
There's tons of brands that do all street art. So
Yeah.
all graffiti.
So it's become its own
And
kind
it's
of.
transparent.
it's a massive
paint,
market.
Yeah.
you know.
So maybe now that this has gone up, Tim, then we can speak. There must be something we can build and capitalise on it. And
Well, I have one last question. I mean, I've got a ton of questions. Believe me, I've shown them you.
Yeah.
One last one.
Okay.
First of all, I want to point. I mean, living in this town has really affected my career as an artist. It's had a negative effect on me because of that. Because of being struggled, I've struggled to find places to paint, and that's had a big effect on my mental health. I know how important being creative is for mental health. As far as that's another question. How do you feel about art and mental health?
Well, I've got a
I'll leave it- I'll
CIC
drop my
that's
thanks.
basically, me and Chris, we have a CIC called the Butterfly Effect, and that is basically about mental health, addiction and creativity, and how we've got our stories, it's for another day, but we use that art and creativity as our kind of therapy to overcome this. And I think without that focus, and, you know, I don't know where I would be. Like, it was my way out, it was my way of escaping. And I think the more tools you can give people, the more spaces you can offer them. It can only help, you know. It's not going to take anything away, is it? It's going to create. And I think creativity gets overlooked so often as an important tool for our mentality. I mean, art isn't just for the creator either. Like, people get therapy for looking at it or watching it happen. I mean, we all love a good TV program. It's art. You know, we all love a good piece of music. It's art. It's creativity.
Yeah.
But when it, you know, we're really quick to forget where the roots of that are and where it starts. Like, I wouldn't have been a street artist if I'd stayed in Rochdale for the same reasons. I had to go out and find it and, like, move to Manchester. You know, it's not always for everyone, you know that. Like, not everybody's ready to uproot and go to a different city. And it wasn't just because it felt a bit stifling in that town. And one of the things I did once I'd done travelled the world and been to all these places and has seen what street art does for the community and seen how it can absolutely transform the narrative of places, was as I brought that back to my hometown and I put a festival on there.
Right.
And we did that. I mean, Rochdale's not got the best reputation, but for once, for like a week, people were talking about it for something else. So, you know, it works and people are still talking about it.
Well, it's similar to Runcorn, I guess.
You are.
It's similar to Runcorn in that,
Yeah.
you know, I think its reputation is unfair. It's probably the same in Rochdale.
Oh, very. We invited the local, lesser experienced, I guess, artists to paint those. But then what happened is they're hanging out with the international artists and having dinner with them and picking their brains, like, how did you get on that festival? How do I do this? How do I write a pitch deck? Da, da, da. Like, what do I do? How do I get out of this painting these boards? Like, blah, blah, blah. And now some of them are travelling and, you know, painting, because it opens doors, conversation, putting creatives together makes stuff happen. It really does.
Yeah.
And if you've got the ability as a town or a city or whatever, or just a small community to provide a little bit of something that's going to make their lives easier, then do it, because it will ripple all the way through that community and it will change so much. I get really.
Well, it's right. It's perfect. And I think because it always comes down to pounds, shillings, and pence, doesn't it? For councils, obviously you guys know you work for the council, but all you need to do for guys like Tim is just give you the wall, and it doesn't cost anything, does it?
I was going to say.
I was going to say
Because
it should do because of the
free up
budget.
the walls and the people we want to paint anyway.
Yeah, there's very limited effort
Find our
required.
paints, we get our own paint, so we'll just paint the walls.
Yeah, there's not much required from anybody other than just let you go and do it. So I think have we got time for one more? Do you think, or it's fine?
Yeah.
Couple more. Right. Okay, so Louise and sorry, Janie, and then we go to Louise and Jenny. Is that okay?
Thank you. A group of us over in Holton are planning a mural to a local kind of lad done good who is no longer with us, but managed to be sort of source of inspiration in the town of Widnes and beyond. But I've got a little bit of anxiety about painting some, well, not me personally, but painting, having painted a mural of somebody that is, you know, existed and the family still being around. I just wondered if you had any kind of advice about if you're kind of creating a mural to somebody who is real and isn't ancient. You know, like I've tried to get in touch with the family. I know there are some family locally, but there's some family that are not round here anymore. But I just wondered if there's any advice on sort of how to be sensitive about that, but still make it happen, kind of thing.
Sorry.
It's for you, Liam.
I think it's important if you can reach the family to definitely, you know, speak to them. I think put yourself in their shoes and how would you feel? You know, you don't know if they're going to walk up on it one day and just be like a whack in the face. So, and as well, the artist you pick to do it, make sure they're going to do it respectfully and it's not.
Understand his history as well, and approach to because you bring his memory, so there is so much responsibility, and it's important to the artist be the canal to bring the memory, not impose what the artist want. So it's bring his voice, not bring the artist's voice. So need to understand not only who the person is, but what that person represents deeply to the family or to the community, right? Because there is some aspects that is really sensitive that you can bring it into the design, into the wall, that is gonna be very subtle for who are looking, and it makes deeper, makes more important, makes more alive, right? And it's I think is important to do a proper search about it.
Thank you.
Yeah. So just go Janie and then Norman. Okay, Janie.
I'm going to skip my question, just to follow on from what you've just said and what the ladies just asked. The memorial wall down there, I don't know if you've seen it, there's always been flowers and stuff. That was created by Tim for our son Alex, and the council and the artists and everybody else that's been involved has been really lovely with us, because they were conscious that they were going over a wall that means a lot to us. That's where I go if I want to talk to Alex. And they've involved us, and it's been amazing. It's a pinch me moment, and I'm really proud. So I would say, speak to the family. I see it as a good thing, as a positive thing, and I know I will still be able to go there. We'll put the planters back, and I can still go and speak to him. So thank you.
So one last one from Norman, and then we'll wrap up, if that's okay.
I don't quite know how I can cap that as one of the really good councillors. It just shows that what happens when we work together in a partnership. These murals over this past week have shown me in front of my very own front door, communities coming together, people of all nations coming together and uniting over these images of Runcorn in the past. To get that they're beautiful, it's just a privilege to have that as a stage for the rest of Runcorn's development, and the fact that it will get interested people at the trains and all sorts of people coming past, despite the illegal horses in the fields. That's thank you so much for what you're doing. It really is showing that you're bringing people together. So.
Yes, definitely. Thank you. There's
Yeah.
no one there that's seen who gets
So that's what I was going to say before we kind of wrap up, is that especially with the events in recent days in Runcorn and how grim it's been the last few weeks, I think those walls have just given everybody a source of inspiration and comfort, if you like, to know that it's not all doom and gloom, despite, you know, the impending, he's actually here, isn't he, the Darth Lord, whatever you want to call it. It's given us inspiration and something that there's a bit of hope there, because we've got these things going on despite who's in charge. So yeah, thank you very much. Round of applause. Good. So just going to do a couple of thank yous. First of all, so I didn't acknowledge it before, but the Mayor-elect of Holton is with us today. So thanks for coming along and supporting this. And good luck. And I'm going to speak to you about my bins later on, so stick around. And the team, so thanks actually to Jane and Claire, who've kind of, not the brains behind the operation, because it wouldn't be going on if their brains were behind it, but they're the guys who've been working with you on this, and I think they do a big part of the process, so round of applause for those guys. And then for Alex and Tori for hosting it. So Jane and Claire asked me to present something to somebody who has been sat in a little camping chair for the last week or so, just fielding questions on behalf of the artists. And it's Ripley. We've got you a slab of concrete. Hey! What is it again? Is it? Oh, it's one of the pillars. There you go. So,
Yeah, that's what I just said.
the split that fell off, yeah. There you go. So yeah, that's it. Thanks very much for coming along. Oh, sorry.
There we've been calling Ripley out community champion. When we can't be there, Ripley's there, fielding questions, so the artist can carry on working.
Yeah.
But we would see if the artist would then spray some paint on that and sign it for her.
All right.
Yeah. I think Ripley's been here hoping the security guard turns up. So yeah, thanks very much for coming along. If you do want to come along to the comedy night, it starts at 8 o'clock. Go and have a couple of pints, get your food, come and see me, get some tickets. It's going to be brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah.
So stick around for that. But yeah, thanks very much for coming along, and I'm sure there'll be something else going on. And thanks to these amazing artists.
That's work.